What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, we have brought back Meet the Miner just for this man right here. I'd like to go ahead and welcome Mr. Max Voltage. What's up, Max?
Not much. How you guys all doing?
Yeah, so I told Max, I've been trying to get him on the show for like 2 years now, and finally he accepted, so I can finally bring this to you guys. So, Max, are you ready to jump into some questions today for the community to learn a little bit more about you?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I've been in the scene for about 2 years, and since I entered the scene, you've been there. So when did you first get into mining, and what pulled you into it? Was it a friend, family member? Was it just an interest? Kind of give us the rundown of when and how.
It was actually just a curiosity. My daughter needed to build a computer for my daughter. She was heading into her sophomore year of college. She had been just having a laptop for her freshman year. So the plan was always to build a computer. And I'm like, hey, there's this thing, mining. I'm like, why don't we both look into this together? Let's see what it's all about. So we both just tried it out. And so that's where it all started, and kept basically adding a little bit during that first year. I added two 5600 XTs during the first year, and then in September of 2020 was when I really started expanding. Basically, that was when I built my first rig, my first 5700 XT rig, along with the two 5600 XTs. And I started out with two 1660 Ti's. My daughter started out with a 1660 and a 1660 Ti.
Good cards, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely great cards. Back in 2019, those were great cards. They were go-to cards for mining, that's for sure. And anyway, just kept growing from there. At that point, I'd caught the bug, and it was
addiction at its best.
Think about where we were in September of 2020. I mean, that was the start of the run-up of all the fees, and the profits were just really big at that point. So I really started and decided to get into it right at the right time. And then I basically made the decision to only buy cards at retail. So I grew slowly. I didn't pay anything above a retail price for any of the cards I own.
Yeah.
And now I'm up to 36, around 36, 39 cards, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's between the 3 and the computers, plus right now I've got, 8 plus 8 plus 12. So 28 right now that are currently mining, even after the merge.
Yeah, which is great. No, I think that's smart. So based off of those cards you have, are you a little bit of AMD, a little bit of NVIDIA, or what is your kind of mix match you have going on there from 1% to another?
Yeah, right now the only thing I have running is NVIDIA. That's it. I can't really see the 5700 XTs being profitable right now. Raven coin's just not profitable, or any of the 𝐓𝐫 coins aren't profitable enough. Plus, it's the way I have everything set up, I need to have everything running off ATX power supply so that I can turn things on and turn things off automatically with the variable rate power that I've got. So right now, I don't have the ability to even expand beyond what I've got right now, unless I got a new motherboard, another power supply. I'd have to buy a few things, which I'm not really in the mood to do right now with where we are with profitability.
No doubt. So you mentioned a little bit about your electric situation. It's a perfect leeway here. So your electric situation is a little bit different as a home crypto miner. So why don't you give the community a rundown of kind of how your electric is a little bit different, how you guys monitor it, and things are powered on and off. And then also you have solar too. So give us the rundown.
Oh, let's talk a little bit about the variable rate power is what I currently have. So when the demand is high, it's very, very expensive. When the demand is low, it's extremely cheap. For example, last night, my power went negative for an hour. It went to 0 for an hour.
Wow.
So that's great. And then all day today, it's been less than 4 cents. So yes, I'm very fortunate in the fact that I have this type of power, and it gives me the choice to mine when it's profitable and turn off when it's not profitable. On top of that, though, I also have solar, which during the day when the cost of electricity is high, I actually get reimbursed at the rate it currently is at. So let's say electricity is at 20 cents because it's an 80-degree day and it's 20 cents a kilowatt hour, I'm being reimbursed for that amount for the excess electricity I'm sending into the grid. So if I'm not mining, I'm making that. So it helps offset the cost when I'm mining at a much lower price. So it's so far it's worked out. I know before the merge I said I was just going to shut off, and when I looked at it, I was like, you know what? If you have low cost electricity, you can make it work.
Now, I know some of your biggest challenge, just knowing you as a fellow another community member, is that the low electric right now is awesome. But jump back, let's say 2 months ago or so, give us a rundown of what that looked like for you then, because I know there was a lot of shutting off due to high rates, right?
Correct. And so, yeah, this will mean it's good right now, being after the merge. But yes, when we head into really, really cold days, electric is going to go up in price. And when it goes to really, really hot days next summer, electric will go up in price. So there may be times where I won't be able to mine at all during those periods of time because electric prices will be higher.
Yeah, so you have to be hyperactive then in monitoring your electric rates in order to determine that now is a good time to have them on or not. It's pretty much what it comes down to, especially for someone looking into it. So if someone's curious on what you're saying, they should approach their electric company looking for variable rate. Is that the proper terminology?
Yeah, there's hourly rate is what a lot of them refer to it as. There's also time of use. Those are standard rates. So it's always going to be whatever those rates are at all times, but it may be cheap enough that you'd be able to mine during the low cost times and not mine during the high cost times. So either of those types of programs work for this type of schedule, I guess. But with variable rate, yes, you do have to be aware of what the power price trends are. So for me, actually, I can look at a day ahead forecast as to what I think the power prices are going to be, and they're fairly accurate. They're sometimes off a little bit. You might see a spike, like I had one last week where 1 hour was like at 8 or 9 cents when it was predicted to be like 3. So that was at 1 a.m. in the morning. I have no idea why that was the case, but it happened. But again, overall, you have to look at overall, does it work? Yeah, there's going to be other times where it's significantly lower than what they forecasted. And so you just average it out based upon the forecasts.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like an avenue to go for some of these miners that are in these rough situations where electric is through the roof. It sounds like it's a blessing and a curse. Like it could be a blessing right now, as you talked about, low rates, negative rates, which is awesome. But it also can be a curse when you're mid-July and your electric rate's through the roof and you're just like, oh, I can't mine this week because everybody's running their air conditioners and the price is out there. So I think maybe would you agree this is possibly a good option if it's available for some people that are in these areas, which are saying, I can't mine at all because it's just right now profitability is low, but it sounds like variable rate is a good way to go because you do have some flexibility. Would that be accurate?
Yes, exactly. The other part of it though is, so in my area, the rate right now is 14 cents.
Okay.
If I averaged it out, even when we were in the hot times of summer, it was still more affordable. The worst case I had on average was 12.2 cents. That was the worst I had all summer long. So yes, it's more expensive. And there may be times where I'll shut off because I don't know what mining is going to be like next summer. But overall, even looking at any month, it's still less expensive to be on variable rate than it is to be on a standard rate. You think about it, it's like insurance. They're giving you a rate that they know that they can be profitable at because they have to deal with the market fluctuations. The electric companies, utilities have to deal with those market fluctuations. So they have to build in a variability of that rate so that they can make sure that they're at least making some profit. Well, if they don't have to do that, they've taken all that risk away. So they just basically build in a set amount of percent profit margin on top of whatever the market rate is, and that's all they charge you. So they're guaranteed that they're going to make a profit, which they're happy with. They're also happy with the fact that the more people that are on that type of program, the more that they will be able to defeat the huge spikes in the network. People, price went up. Now I'm going to have to shut off, that type of thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely smart. I don't think many people know about that entire situation, so I think that's really good. So you had talked a little bit about solar. So did you have your solar before you got into mining, or was this a purchase during your kind of beginning of mining?
No, I bought it before I even started mining, so there
Okay.
really wasn't any um, thought that I was going to get into mining and it was really going to have a great effect. A lot of what I'm doing right now is by circumstance, not by plan.
Okay.
So
Got it.
um, I got into variable rate. A friend of mine turned me onto it and said, "Look, I've never lost money. I've always saved
Yeah.
money by being on this program." I'm like, "Sure, I'll try anything. Can I turn it off? Can I go back to standard rate anytime I want?" Yes. Once you go back to standard rate, though, you have to wait a year to come back, which makes sense.
Ooh. Okay.
But good thing is that yes, you can go back to standard rate whenever you want. So there's no risk other than okay, maybe if you catch it during the worst month. I've had during the 7 years I've had it, I've had 3 months where I paid an amount less than $3 more than the standard rate. And every
Okay.
single one of them was during the winter when we had like 15, 20 below spikes
Yeah.
across the country, the Arctic.
Yep.
What do they
The
call it?
Arctic blast that comes through, or
Yeah,
whatever they call it. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay,
So,
very cool. So with that in mind, if somebody was like, "Hey, I have 30 grand, I'm interested in investing into solar," and they're a crypto miner, do you recommend it as a kind of something to do, or do you see that 30,000 spent better elsewhere from a high point of view?
well, so that's kind of difficult to say. It depends
Got to do the
on, it
math.
really depends on what people's goals are. But
Okay.
overall, if you wanted to get into solar, you need to look at just the finance piece of it. You need to look at, does this make sense from a home perspective, regardless of whether or not you're mining or not? Yes, you might have a larger system. You might be able to put in a larger system because you're mining.
Yeah.
But overall, I looked at it from a standpoint of, is it going to cost me any more to have a solar system and the money savings from that, or to pay the utility at the current rates? And at that point, it was like, no, it was like breaking even. The uh, payback on it, the break even point on it, was about 8 to 9 years.
Okay.
Um, so it's nothing like buying a GPU. If the expectation is I'm going to buy a solar system and it's going to pay itself back just like a GPU, no, this is a
Yep.
long term investment. The other part of it is I still think it's a great idea, especially considering you can't make another investment in your house that's going to add as much value as a solar
Okay.
system will,
Good way to look at it.
depending on the incentives that are available. And right now, there's a lot of incentives available. Starting next year, there's going to be battery system that's going to be included in those
Incentives. Yep.
incentives. So it
Yep.
really, there is no better time to consider it. But again, I think they're mutually exclusive. As would I do it because I'm a miner? No, I do it because it made sense financially from the standpoint of it's going to save me money in my house and it's going to add value to my house.
Okay. No, it definitely makes sense. So shifting gears from electric, let's talk a little bit about cooling. You're a home crypto miner and you have a pretty decent amount of graphics cards. How are you guys handling the heat or the cooling side of managing that for that many graphics cards right now in your house?
So that's where Sunflower Mama came into play and really helped
Okay.
out in a lot of areas. But it's all in the basement. I had uh, earlier this summer, I had a 220 volt outlet put in. So
Smart.
now I have everything running in the basement. So I had everything down there, but it was still really getting upstairs. Like, what are we going to do?
Hmm.
So my wife, Sunflower Mama, actually did a couple different things. I know I wanted to put in a fan. So I have a fan that basically is built into the window that was there,
Okay.
and it blows out directly out the window well. And we actually built in a little bit of a ramp so that it doesn't like hit and then come right back.
Hmm. Yeah.
So making it easier for it to get out. We put screens over the window wells. We still have covers, so we built actually like um, stacks of bricks so that the covers were actually lifted, so there's plenty of air that can get out of the window well. And then we have 2 other window wells that, again, we screened off on the top of the window wells, and then opened up those windows for intake.
Oh, nice. So you have like intake on one side and then exhaust on the other side?
Exactly. But, and really, we do have fans on the intake. I use those when it gets really hot, but for the most part, those are off. And then because of the way our basement's structured, that's like behind the staircase. So we have like 2 openings on either side of the staircase to go to the other side of the basement, and we put very, very thick curtains over those openings. So it is amazing when you walk from one side of that curtain to the other. It's a good 15 degrees different. And we basically have about a 20-degree difference between the basement and the upstairs. So yeah, if it's 95 degrees outside, it's still 75 to 80 in the house.
Okay. And do you have anything on the ceiling down there to stop like heat soak, or no, you just leave it where it is and you have good airflow?
We leave it where it is. I have considered, so when we originally built the basement, we did put insulation in one part of the basement. So but that's like the fun part of the basement. That's like where the TV is. The computer and all that kind of stuff is over there. So we didn't put it over there. So yeah, there is heat soak going straight upstairs, but it's manageable. Okay,
that's great. No, it sounds good. So pivoting here, other than GPU mining, what other forms of crypto mining are you involved with or passionate about?
Well, those are kind of okay. So other things I'm involved with would be helium. Am I passionate about it anymore? Not so much. It's there's been a lot of things that have come out about helium, and let's just say I'm not quite as passionate about it. It's making money for me. It's profitable. Each of the helium miners that I have are profitable. Some more than others. One at home is certainly more profitable than the other 2 I've got. But yeah, the good thing about it is, they make, I don't know, anywhere 30 cents a day or something. Nothing that's going to make you rich, but it only uses a very, very small amount of electricity. So it really doesn't cost anything to run. So, more than you can say about a lot of GPUs right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the other thing is, when Flux went to, I'm trying to remember what they did at the beginning of the year, but they had a big push on people getting into nodes. Oh, they lowered the requirement to get into nodes.
Correct. It's like a whole new bracket now that is a little bit more within reach for your normal everyday miner.
Yep, exactly. So I thought that sounded very interesting. Kind of the same way where I got into mining in the first place. I was curious. So I said, well, I'll build my first node. Let's see how it goes. And I really enjoyed it. And then a lot of people started asking me about it. Me and Taines were kind of like the go-to guys in the community about nodes. So I really just enjoyed that whole aspect of it. So now I have a second node. I will be getting a third node. We'll see how that works with my internet service provider's upload and requirements and such. But we'll see how it goes. I have a backup plan for putting that node somewhere else that could host it if necessary. But yeah, I'm already making plans to get that third node.
That's awesome. Yeah. So is the node something that you're looking to expand on and grow into other crypto nodes and such like that, or are you just kind of more committed to Flux right now?
Yeah, I am interested in doing some other nodes on Flux. One of the ones I've talked about doing, and I just have never gotten around to it, is Pre. It's an interesting project. And then there's some other ones that I've debated on whether or not I would get into it. I think it's interesting that you have a lot of the other proof of work coins that are also now running nodes on the Flux network as well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of crypto coins that proof of work ones now, as you had mentioned, that are starting to go down this a little bit more accessible node route in order to continue with the decentralization of their network. So yeah, hey, if we can run them as home miners and we're making some passive income off of them, why not? It's like the same thing as Helium. If we have an opportunity and it's not a huge burden for us each month from electric, let's take it. Which is great. So let's talk about Ergo a little bit. What are your thoughts on the current kind of hash rate to difficulty situation? And do you think it was an oversight, or do you think it was a by design situation?
I don't know a ton about Ergo, but I was actually just kind of looking at it a little bit today, and basically what I was hearing was, yeah, it looked like an oversight. Like they weren't really prepared for the additional hash rate that was going to come their way. They don't have the ability to handle the additional hash rate. So, yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I think they're a very strong project. I know a lot of people were really excited about it. I hadn't really looked totally into it. I knew that I was more focused on Flux and what I was going to be doing with Flux, going in after the merge, and then looking at some other projects such as 𝐓𝐨𝐝, 𝐷𝐿𝐴. Those were kind of some things that I look at. And then, of course, as everybody does, we're all looking at what to mine to see what's the most profitable. And as I've said a million times, mine what's most profitable, sell it if it's not what you're passionate about, and buy the coin that you really want at the end of the day. You'll end up with more of the coin that you really want.
I like it. So what do you find yourself doing that on anything that you're mining right now, kind of cashing it out and converting it?
Well, right now, I plan on building just a little bit of bag of 𝐓𝐴. I haven't done a lot of 𝐓𝐴 mining. Right now, I've been mining mainly Flux. So yeah, I'm just building that bag. I haven't quite gotten to enough for the third node, but we'll get that somewhat shortly, depending on when Flux allows the transfer or the ability to move and claim the Flux Ergo into Flux.
Yeah, it makes sense. So talking about some of these other crypto projects, is there any that you feel don't get, or at least one, let's say, that don't get the attention that it deserves? Is there a project out there where you're like, I wish this was a lot bigger than it was right now?
I mean, Raven Coin in a way, but I feel like that's self-inflicted. They're not out there. They're not, communicating. They don't have the marketing that you have with, say, a Flux or even an Ergo or a lot of these other projects that are out there and talking to the community openly, trying to gain additional interest in their project. I always relate it to rideshare, because nobody's ever heard of Sidecar.
But what? What's Sidecar?
Exactly. Sidecar was the first rideshare company. They had the most innovative features that now Uber and Lyft both have, but they had it way before anybody else and had innovative features that nobody else still has. And but they didn't have the marketing. They focused on the build it and they will come. And it doesn't work that way. It's important to build. Not saying it's not important to build, but it's even just as important to communicate in order to generate the interest. I mean, I think this is one of the things that Ethereum's seeing right now. Their price is going down. I know a lot with the rest of the market, but I really think that they're going to see some repercussions from a price perspective, as miners are just don't care anymore, and they're going to put their Ethereum into other projects.
Yeah, I would agree. The attention there, like Ethereum was talk of the town for how long? Everybody kind of had their eyes on it, and now miners have just kind of turned the opposite way. And okay, what's next? We're looking at other proof of work stuff. And so from a miner's perspective, we're not looking at Ethereum. We're not talking about Ethereum. We're not none of that. So no, I can totally agree. That's a good way to go. So are there any coins that you've mined in the past that unfortunately have died out that you kind of had some faith in? Are there any ones out there where you got on spec mined it and was like, all right, this could be it, and then it just died out, unfortunately?
No, not really. What I mined, again, I always took this idea of mine what's most profitable and sell. So I mined Zcoin a long time ago, which then became Fear. And that was the most profitable thing on 1660 Ti's for I don't know, 8 to 10 months when I first started. Ethereum was not top dog back then in 2019. So I was mining that for a long time. And, but I was just transitioning it straight into Bitcoin.
Yeah, which is always your safe bet anyway. I always recommend that to people too. So on that, kind of jumping to these different coins here, are there any coins in the past that you passed on mining? That you thought about it for a second, passed on mining it, and then it took off later on and you went, crap, I should have mined more of that?
Yeah, there's a couple of them immediately. I still do actually mine Reptorium.
Okay.
I've got my main computer that I mine with it, as well as I've got a CPU miner downstairs that also has 8 GPUs on it. It's a 5950X, so it's mining Raptorium. I like the project, but yeah, I did not get in early. I waited. And the other one, obviously, recently is 𝐓𝐲'𝐬. I knew about that very early, and I was kind of like, really? I don't know.
I was the same way. I'll admit, 100% that same situation on 𝐓𝐲'𝐬. I was like, I'm not interested, and then all of a sudden now I'm like, crap, I should have mined more when I had the chance.
I know. So, but the thing is, it's opportunity cost. It's like, okay, you're giving up a for sure thing of a decent profit to a not for sure thing. You could totally waste your time on something and not have it amount to anything. When you look at things like, was it Ravencoin Lite, for instance? I don't even know where that is at this point. Yeah, right.
Turned in it. Yeah, Ravencoin Sorry, that's right. Listen.
But here's the thing. So I know you took a lot of crap for that.
Me and Seb both. Seb and I both a lot of crap for that.
And I think it was unfair because guess what? What are people doing now? Everybody's trying to find the newest coin because nothing's profitable at the given power rates that most people have. So now everybody's like, well, that's the best option is try to find something where I can gain a whole bunch of coin that's not profitable right now, but I'm going to gain a ton of coin. So it's amazing how the coin has flipped to what you guys were criticized for. And
I know, right?
Where we are now. And that's what everybody's saying we need to be doing. So
Ravencoin Lite turned into Avian. So they rebranded, turned into Avian, and it's there here and there. But no, I agree with you. Looking back on just the last 2 years I've been in mining, I really wish when I started mining, I took one graphics card and dedicated it as like my spec mining graphics card. And it was like every month I put it on something different. That wasn't getting, because then you're just continuing to build those bags versus now, look where we are now. It's like now everybody's kind of chasing, whatever they can in order to get their bags full. So I think spec mining only gets the attention it deserves in a market like we are right now, where the community is okay with it and approves of it when profits are extremely low versus when profits are high. Like think back a year ago, it's like, wait, you're not mining Ethereum? Like that was literally like almost everyone's statement.
Exactly. Well, and then this thing is that we also have to watch out for scams more than ever right now.
Yeah.
Because this basically allows people to prey on miners who now are looking for something else to
like this 𝐓𝐲'𝐬 going on. Yeah, definitely scams.
I mean, there's that too. I'm not mining 𝐓𝐲'𝐬, but no, the one that I was thinking about was 𝐶𝐸𝐲.
Oh yeah. I just finished watching the Saturday Misfits Mining episode, so literally like a few hours before this. So I'm like, what are they saying? Like, why do they keep saying that? Now I get it. Now I absolutely get it. Now you definitely have to watch out for those. So talking about those, just scams or rug pulls or spec mining, what are your thoughts on 𝐓𝐻? Love it, hate it? Where's your kind of head at with it?
I'm gonna wait and see.
Smart.
Again, if it's the most profitable thing to mine, then that's fine. As long as you have an outlet to sell it. That's the key. If you have an outlet where you can deposit it and sell it, great. I know right now my exchange is Bittrex, and right now I did get the equivalent amount of 𝐓𝐻𝐻 as I did with ETH. I did get that airdrop, but lately it hasn't been allowed to be. I can't deposit anything into it, and I can't withdraw anything. I could trade it within those three, but I can't get anything in or out if I were to mine it either to a different wallet or mine it to the exchange, one of the two. So there's no way for me to make the normal move. I don't plan on holding 𝐓𝐻𝐻. I've got a couple. I will leave those. I'm not planning on selling those, but they're not worth a lot either. So it's kind of like, okay, it's interesting because it's in my exchange as a holding. Therefore, it's easier to track as well. Because I am curious to see where the value goes. I mean, just a few days ago, it went from 5 to 10. So, we're going to see some wild swings in it, no question.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk, I would say. But I think if you have a out on it, exchanging it, stuff like that makes it easier. I actually saw today, and it's something I want to look into later this week, is you can take your iPolos and you can mine 𝐓𝐻𝐻 on them now. So it's like, ooh, okay. So yeah, I just found out about that today, and I'm like, ooh, I want to try that. So I'm going to take my Apollo SE I have, which is extremely efficient, and throw it on there just to test it out, because it's like, all right, I'm not touching it on anything else, but that's a great use for it, because other than that, you're putting them on Ethereum Classic, and that's just getting hammered. So yeah, there's definitely some opportunity there. So talking more about Ethereum, did you think the Ethereum merge would impact proof of work profitability as much as it did? Or kind of where was your head going into the merge?
I thought it was going to be worse.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, I thought it was going to be way worse. I thought nothing was going to be profitable. But I mean, we had been talking about this for quite a while.
Yep.
A lot of the hash rate turned off because they're like, "Hey, I'm going to turn this off. Let's see where it goes." And people turned off, and guess what? It still wasn't profitable with everybody that turned off.
Yeah,
The
you're
number
right.
I've heard thrown around is about 50% of the GPU hash rate turned off. Which
Okay.
is a lot, but we really need it to be more like 80% to where more people are going to be able to be profitable. So that's going to take some time. Yeah, I'm hearing from other people in the community that there's miners that are reaching out to them saying, "What happened? What happened?" All of a sudden, like, okay, are you living in a hole, or are you just not paying attention?
Where you been? Where you been? Yeah.
These are the people that are the set it and forget it, aren't really involved in the community. They're just out there to make money. And I think
Yep.
the people that are just there to make money will exit very, very quickly. The question is how quickly? Is it going to
Yeah.
be 2 months? Is it going to be 6 months?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, we might not have seen the drop off quite yet. That everybody has said like things may tier, and you may see things come and go. So no, I agree. So with that in mind, the Ethereum merge in mind, current profitability in mind, do you think what do you think has to happen for us to rebound in the crypto mining industry right now back to a profitable state? Is there certain things that you believe, okay, these things need to happen in order for that, or certain monumental moments that need to occur, or where's your head at right now for that?
Well, I'm very analytical about these types of things. So it's
Yeah, you are.
really simple. It's
Yep.
either new valuable coins need to come, proof of work coins need to come up and be good projects that people are interested in, or increase in value of proof of work coins, or people just selling their GPUs, and there's just a much smaller community of miners out there. It's those three things it's one of those three things, or a combination of those three things, that allows us to get to a point where more of us can be profitable. And it's going to be interesting because I think basically what the first thing that's going to happen is I don't think we're going to see any significant appreciation in crypto. I think that we're not going to see. I'm not counting at any new projects really being earth-shattering and taking a ton of hash rate where it's going to make any amount of difference. So what we really need to see is an attrition of the number of GPUs that are out there mining, and that'll take some time. But once that has happened, and then we start seeing appreciation as we start heading into the next bull run, that's when everybody's going to be playing catch up because people got out of the market and now they're going to try to get back into the market. And some of the people that were in it will be like, no, I got into it late. I made a little bit of money. I lost money on my GPU or whatever. I mean, you think about it. The hash rate in the last 6 months of Ethereum went up a lot. It wasn't like it went up and then stopped in the last 6 months, nothing happened. No, there were a lot of very, very recent miners. And I think the recent miners won't come back because they either didn't recover or they're like, what was the point of it all?
Yeah, no, it's very true. No, I think that's definitely a good point. So for someone new coming into crypto mining today, and they ask max voltage, is it worth getting into mining today? What would your response be?
Yes. Simply yes. But
done. We're out.
Right? Yes, but mine with what you got.
Okay.
Mine with what you got. Don't invest. Take a wait and see approach. See if you like it. I mean, as well as I do, this is an enjoyable thing. You get into it. Oh yeah, I'm going to make some money on this and such. But then you get hooked. You enjoy the process. You enjoy the problem solving of all the problems you run into and making things run better. And it's just enjoyable. Obviously, the community's a big part of it as well. But if you're just getting in, mine with what you've got, learn how to overclock on that, what's possible with the hardware you have, and add slowly. Certainly in the down market that we're in now, GPUs are going to be less expensive. So you're not going to be, if you want to add one card, it isn't going to be like it was during the bull run when, you had to buy something for 5 to 8 times what,
Right.
what retail was.
Yeah.
It was just crazy what some of these prices were going for. So anyway, so yes, my short answer is yes, get into mining, but look to see if you like it, mine with what you got, and then see where you want to go from there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good recommendation, especially right now. We don't know where things are going to be. I mean, it was different when like we were in the height of mining, like in the last 2 years, and like you could mine with anything and it would be profitable because it was like, wow, like, but now I think it's a really good point to mine with what you have. I think you get into things and you spend a lot. It is a big difference on it being a hobby and it being profitable than you just chasing profit and removing that hobby side. Because the nice thing is like now when profit is gone, or if not barely there, if it's still a hobby for you, it's still enjoyable. But right. If it was purely about profit, you've already exited. Like you've sold off months ago when the writing was on the wall. So no, it definitely makes sense. I mean, the hard part I think is right now hardware is cheap. Used hardware is extremely cheap, and I'm always of the school of thought of chasing some of that used hardware because it is so cheap, but it is really hard to spend any of that capital right now because you really don't know where things are going to go.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And obviously I'm giving just a blanket.
Yeah, correct. I agree.
If you have been in it and you're like, hey, I want to get back into it. Hey, it's a great time to invest in the equipment that's going to be necessary to take advantage of the next bull run.
Yeah.
It is a good time for that, but not many people I know are in that position. So nobody wants to buy hardware that's going to sit on the sidelines for a while. People that are very experienced, yes, they may be doing that. We know some people in the community are doing that, which makes sense for them because they're in it for the long haul. They're experienced. They know what they're getting into. The beginner doesn't know exactly what they're getting into. So my recommendation still stands.
That's good. So 2 last questions. First question, who is a community member that you feel would be a good fit for this show that hasn't been on the show yet? Who comes to mind where you're like, oh, they would be good?
Serpent X.
He's been on here already. Man, Max, he has though. That's okay. He was good. Good recommendation. The second thing that I didn't say at the top of this though was so Max is a content creator, and he has a YouTube channel as well. And I'll definitely link that down below. But Max, what type of content when they go over to your YouTube channel will people expect to find?
It's more about what you won't expect to find. Generally,
okay.
You're not expect to find this is how to mine. This is how the overclocks to use on this. That's not the type of content that I have. I have more in-depth content, more specific content. Like how do my last live stream I did how do you mine profitably, and that was going into everything that I did. So more of the complicated things. Is more what I like to get into. I like to dive into the details of everything. It's actually how I got more involved in the community in the first place. Was I actually got laid off at the end of 2020, and that was right as the whole 1559 thing was blowing up. And I got very, very involved. Had conversations with Tim Biko and Micah, and really learned a lot about how Ethereum worked and what they were trying to accomplish and where their mind was at and what needed to be done if the miners were going to get anything out of it. So again, working a little bit with BBT, Tim had actually asked me, hey, somebody's got to write an EIP. Why shouldn't it be you? I'm not the right guy. I don't know Ethereum well enough. And I knew BBT was the right guy. And the interesting thing about it was I don't want to say I twisted his arm. I didn't twist his arm. I said, no, Tim said, this is what's going to be necessary to have us even have a chance at having ourselves heard. And he's like, it's just going to be a waste of time. They're not going to listen. And I shouldn't say I convinced him. I told him what Tim had said, and he agreed then to do it. And he was absolutely right about it all. They didn't listen to him. They basically threw him to the side. I feel bad that he went through all that. But anyway, it was a real good learning experience through that whole process, and learning about the history of Ethereum. And I don't know, it was just really, really great to be involved in that. So I became kind of the go-to guy in the community beyond obviously BBT, that knew a lot about the project and could answer a lot of the questions about it. And that's kind of where my whole YouTube journey kind of started initially. And then just, I don't know, there's just different things where I'll come across something and be like, oh, I want to do a video about that. Well, my latest video was about the EVGA shutting down their GPUs.
Yep.
So just different things that come across. But again, just a smattering of different topics is what I like to cover.
Yeah, I find your channel has a lot of like talking head videos on topics that you're passionate about, which are great. Those are great because I can put them on while on the way to work or listening to something or working on something. And they're great foods for thought, which work out well. They're less, as you had said, how-to videos, which, there's a place for every type of channel. So yeah, if you guys do want to go ahead, go check that out. I'll put a link directly down below to Max's channel. And I think, Max, that's going to end things off for today. So Max, I appreciate you joining me today. Once again, guys, check him out, Max Voltage. Please go ahead and give him a subscribe. If you guys enjoy this content and want to see more of these, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And finally, don't forget to subscribe. Take care.
The GPU Hanger. Misfit Mining and the Meterbox Company have partnered up to bring back the GPU hangers better than ever. The iconic Misfit Mining GPU hanger is now going to be PVC injection molded, making them stronger and more heat resistant than ever before. This project will be 100% community funded and produced once our goal is met. As a thank you for all your support, we are running a massive giveaway for the entire month of September, giving away over $7,000 in prizes like the iPolo V1 Mini, Mini Classic Plus, G1 Mini, tons of meter boxes, GPU hangers, and limited edition NFTs. Check out the new GPU hanger and enter this amazing giveaway. No purchase is necessary. You may also purchase additional items for even better chances to win. The GPU hanger contest is worldwide, extending through September 30th. Winners will be publicly announced on October 5th.